Welcome to the Dream Life is Real Life podcast with your host, Hanna Hermanson, bringing you real life stories of people who realized their dreams to educate and inspire you to create your legacy of abundance now.
Do you ever feel like people just don't get you? You find yourself turning inside and out, striving for the next thing, looking for success, just trying to get people to understand you. Growing up in a small town in Wisconsin, I thought I did all of the right things. Even in middle school, I was elected class president. And all through high school, I did well in my classes. I was a leader. I dated the high school jock. I never got in trouble. I even gave our high school commencement speech. So, of course, I got into my dream college. And while there, I took leadership roles and I got on the dean's list. And even after college, I landed most of the jobs that I interviewed for. So I took one of those jobs and I started saving for retirement. I got a cubicle and I got to do what I thought was dream work. I was an academic advisor at the University of Wisconsin, which was amazing because I got to stay in college, contribute to education, and help other young people set goals and create a trajectory for their life that would lead them to success. Yet, early in my career, I found that I couldn't be content just working as an academic advisor. And, I had to admit that all throughout my journey to get to this dream job, I had a sense that I was a little out of place. From a very young age, I felt like I was meant to change the world. Yet I didn't know how. I saw people around me doing amazing things in schools. My mom is a school social worker. My dad works for the city. My family is invested in contributing to their communities. And so that was one example. I had a few friends that, traveled or did other things, and I just didn't find what my thing was. How was I going to change the world? So I followed the route that I felt like was comfortable and would lead me to success. And so here I was as an academic advisor on the outside looking like I had figured it out. I was living my dream life, and I was very uncomfortable. And so I yearned for a lot of things, right? I tried to start a network marketing business. I became a yoga teacher. I also wrapped myself up in an eating disorder. I was arrested. I disappointed my parents. I was actually let go from a dream job. I went broke. And here I am speaking to you on the Dream Life is Real Life podcast. That's because those failures, that history, is not where my stories end. That's right. I'm Hanna Hermanson, your host and the founder of Dream Life is Real Life. Today, I work with young-minded, right, spirited people to move away from the stories and the trials and the tribulations and the mess-ups and help other people find their groove, just as I have. So how did we get here? How did I move from messing up to being fired to spiraling down into a lifestyle that I definitely knew was not going to be successful? Well, I distinctly remember when I was in my therapist chair and I was listening to her tell me about all the things I needed to just remember in order to, solve my eating disorder. And she said, Hanna, and this was for like the 5th month in a row. She's telling me, Hanna, just slow down. You do enough. It's okay. Accept yourself. And I was already hangry because I wasn't eating much at the time. And I was also frustrated because I had felt like so many people kept telling me to slow down, to just be okay, to just settle. And so I rebutted that day and I said, why does everyone want to stunt my go-getterness? Why can't people just be proud that I do a lot and I exercise and I set goals and I'm always chasing new things? Why can't that be just an okay part of my personality? And she looked at me and she said, Hanna, do you want to be remembered for counting calories and running? And that was a pivotal moment in my life, a defining question that helped me realize that my legacy, the reason why I'm here, is not just to do a lot of things or to work all day or to follow the path that others believe is good and right. So through my process of, working through an eating disorder, overcoming some anxiety, and stepping outside of that discomfort, right? I wasn't comfortable in the place I was in my life, although it looked safe and status quo. So I embarked on maybe a quarter life crisis where I, again, tried to accumulate lots of experiences in order to find my group. So I became a yoga teacher. I mentioned I started a network marketing business. I traveled to places like Kenya, Thailand, Cambodia, the Dominican Republic, Nepal. I taught English in these foreign countries, right? I'm still seeking this thing that's going to allow me to change the world in some pretty prescribed places, though. Teaching English, becoming a yoga teacher, working for someone else in these network marketing businesses. And when I came back from all of those quests, I guess you would say, really they were journeys of self-discovery. And what I came back realizing is that I didn't get myself. Throughout my life, feeling like nobody gets me, I don't fit in here, I'm not doing enough, was because I didn't get myself. I also realized that my unique skills and experiences and areas of expertise could allow me to be a life coach and help other people navigate that foggy path to find their dream life, right? Once we step outside of convention, I realized I had a lot of these tools, again, through experience, through failure, that would allow me to hand other people a helping hand, a strategy that could help them move into what their true purpose was and help other people leave a legacy that wasn't just counting calories, paying bills, doing the right thing. So I started a coaching business, which will, keep this story short. I'm sure throughout the podcast, we'll hear other people's entrepreneurial journeys. And ultimately that led me to San Francisco, outside of my small town in Wisconsin. I came to the big city, the Sunshine State, and I founded Dream Life is Real Life. The company, the mission, the work that I do has quickly evolved into not just life coaching. Because what I realized as I started out as a life coach is that there are these foundational pieces in each of our lives that must be taken care of so that we can pursue our purpose, so that we do have that space to find our groove. And one of the big pieces are finances. So I quickly transitioned my life coaching into business coaching because I found that my clients had a lot of the insight, a lot of the willingness to go within themselves. Yet when you're working full time, when you're under the stress of debt, when you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's difficult to incorporate higher level thinking. If you think about chakras as a yoga teacher, that sacral chakra of income, of money needs to be secured so that we can build upon it and get into that third eye, the wisdom, the intuition. So now I'm working with entrepreneurs or people with an entrepreneurial foresight to help them build abundant businesses so that they've got the income that will allow them to energize other aspects of their life. So some of my clients are doing things like starting nonprofits, launching vegan cookbooks, and doing things that are so aligned with their purpose and don't need to be monetized or their full-time job, but can be part of their bigger life mission. So that's what I do for work. And just like my clients, I also have a lot of layers to my mission. So other things you'll hear me talking about on the podcast include the Dream Life Explorers, which is a travel and mindfulness blog that my partner, Mac, you'll hear his name a few times, I'm sure. My partner Mac and I have created because we are on a worldwide journey to keep seeking what's possible. We have left our full-time jobs. He is a former 7th grade teacher. And we are out in the world, again, just seeing what's possible when we allow ourselves to step into our dream life. We both love travel. We love reading. We love writing. We love experiencing new cultures. And so you're going to be welcome to join that journey on our blog, dreamlifeexplorers.com. Within that journey, there's another aspect of the work we do. And I mentioned Mac was a 7th grade teacher. And we're building curriculum for middle schoolers to tap into their dream life before they step on this path. Not to run myself out of the day job or the work that I do, but what if we didn't wait until a quarter life crisis or a midlife crisis, or wake up one day wondering, how did I get here? What if in 7th grade, someone walked you through curriculum that helped you understand that there are many ways of creating success, and they could be founded on the values, the identities, and the dreams that you have? My vision for the world is people not following what they think is right or what they should do, but people following their passion, their purpose, and navigating later how to monetize that. Instead of what we're doing now, which is, monetize your passion so that you can live a full life and have abundance. So those are some of the things that we're working on, some of the things that I'm passionate about, and all of which I want to include you in. So the purpose of this podcast is to help grow our networks for the listeners to be engaged in interviews with other real people who are navigating their own journey into their best life. Because there's something about personal connection that can educate and inspire people, us, to take a leap of faith. And I think so often that leap of faith is there. It's just deciding that we want to take it. And for me, I had challenges, I had failures, I had lows. And it was a necessity because I didn't have a job and I was not in a good place in life. It was a necessity for me to make a change. And I decided this was not going to be my story. And so my leap of faith was more like a climbing out of a hole, perhaps. But many of you listening may be in a different place in your life where it's comfortable. It's okay. You can rationalize that being here is fine. Yet there's someone, maybe it's that 8-year-old self that wants to change the world, like it was for me, that might want to do something more, something different. And so perhaps this podcast will give you permission to do something different. Or perhaps this podcast will give you inspiration and make you feel great that there are people in the world chasing their dreams and making it real. Or maybe you're just someone who is curious about how people live. There are so many stories that we are going to be sharing on this podcast, many different walks of life, from educators to entrepreneurs to moms, okay? There are so many ways that dream life can be embodied, and I want to help showcase as many stories and strategies as possible to help more of you get into your dream life. And I hope that you'll hear also on these podcasts that your highest self, your dream life is not far away. And so you'll be hearing on every episode ways that you can take steps to get closer and closer. We'll have new episodes every single week, which means you have opportunities to connect with new, real people living the dream. You'll have the opportunity to connect with them after each episode, and you'll also be encouraged to take action after each episode. And I promise you that if you take action on the strategies prescribed or given to you in this podcast, you will be in a radically different place in a few months. The reason why I'm launching this podcast is because I can only work with so many clients one-on-one. Most 7th graders are not tapping into, personal development or podcasts. And if you are, welcome. I adore you. The podcast is really so that these principles, these strategies, these real life lessons can reach more people. And so I hope that you take that to heart and share this with anyone who might, need a little inspiration or support. because I get you. Just like I felt like nobody got me. I get you now.
You've been learning how to make your dream life your real life with Hanna Hermanson. To get the resources mentioned on today's show and to listen to past episodes, visit www.dreamlifeisreallife.com.